or good evening, depending on what part of the world you're from. Uh, just had a couple of thoughts, and there goes something flying in the back of my truck. Secure your loads. Actually, it's an empty 5-gallon water bottle that I'm going to trade in. But anyway, good morning. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm going to try and keep this one quick. I've said before in my videos, I mention it in my book, Defensive Preparedness, that time, money, energy, and space are all very important resources. Hey, good morning, Cat Attack. Good morning, or C4 Attack, Cat Attack. I keep missaying that. Hey, KP. Hey, Ohio. For those of you who made it to I think Bug Out Weekend was this weekend. I was so tied up at work, I didn't even look. I think Vision had his Bug Out Weekend this weekend. There we go. Can you guys see me and hear me? I had a little bit of a reception issue just now. So not sure if y'all can see me. It says, okay, good deal, thank you. So anyway, protecting your inner peace. I've had a lot of people that I hang out with. You know, we're all watching what's going on, right? Those of you who know me or follow me, you know, there's a lot of, I've been involved in a veterans group out here. A lot of these younger guys who went downrange and kind of supporting them. But also I'm in the energy sector, and energy is a global thing, right? So we're always talking about things going on in the world, but also not just politically, but also how it affects the market, demand for energy, you know, everything from wind farms to rig count, just so we have clarity as to what's going on. Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Coffee. Good morning, Loretta, and anyone I missed. And, you know, one of the themes that came out is one of the guys actually said, he said, you know, he's a military guy, and he said, you know, my wife is on the same page with me. We're kind of thinking, okay, let's have some food. Let's have, you know, just having forethought. And then one of the folks pops out and says, man, my family is, he said, I have cases of MREs and shit. And my family's like, are you paranoid? Like, what are you afraid of? You know, everything's going to be fine. Nothing will happen. And that agitates the hell out of me, because these people will be the first ones. And if you watch those people who tell you you shouldn't prep, and you shouldn't be worried, and that you're paranoid, you're a conspiracy theorist, one, are always the ones who say the government will protect us, or they will protect us. And who's they? I can tell you, as a guardsman who deployed during hurricane, individual houses weren't even a concern. Literally, we were told, go and help this field hospital, go and distribute food. If you witness a crime, call it in. Don't touch it. Not our business, not our jurisdiction. So people think, oh, they push the National Guard button, or they push the emergency button, or the FEMA button, and everything's magically taken care of. It's not. On the ground, it's a bunch of people who've been given instructions to try and keep the important things running for the general population. If you personally have a SHTF, during an SHTF, your house is flooding, someone breaks into your house, if the cops will get there when they get there, or the ambulance. Well, Neil, look, what I've seen on the ground, and this is from experience, you have a lot of well-meaning people in a very big monstrosity of an organization that is not efficient. The folks on the ground are really genuinely trying to help. The system they're working with is awful. I did see a change in Texas, though, during Harvey. Is FEMA was like, okay, we have resources, the state manages it, and we'll send the resources where you request it. And that worked a lot better, because the folks locally know what's going on in their neighborhood, right? I know what goes on in my town. I know the back roads. So FEMA actually became a resource, as opposed to trying to have their fingers directly involved. And it worked a hell of a lot better that way. And I think if they replicated that model on a larger scale, where you had like the FEMA warehouse of stuff, and then the state requests, hey, and that's the way it's supposed to work. Integrated command systems, it's supposed to come from the bottom up. The problem is FEMA gets involved, and then it gets confused because nobody knows who has what jurisdiction. If they use that model, that would be great. But side quest there. The very people who will tell you you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be worrying, you're paranoid, every time are the first ones on the neighborhood Facebook groups, the first ones on your phone telling you, hey, I need you to come help. I need you to bring me food. I need you. And what pisses me off is very often, and this has happened to me personally, both with family and with friends, is they get demanding when they panic. They freak out. Hey, good morning, Virginia Bushcrafter. Well, Neil, that's the thing. When they cut the bureaucracy, and I've only seen it in that one instance where, and again, it's Texas, so we have our own set of rules and shit, but basically the governor said, let the counties and the state handle it, and we'll direct resources, and FEMA said, fine. And so FEMA had the resources, and then our engineers, our people went out and said, hey, we need a field hospital here, food distribution here. And the trucks showed up, and we got rid of the bureaucrats, and they became a warehouse to distribute. And the state level folks, the folks who know, who are boots on the ground, saw it, and they'd send an observer, and the observer would say, yeah, confirm this is flooded. Yes, we need a field hospital here, or whatever. It worked so much better. When you had FEMA supervisors trying to take over, it absolutely screwed us up. But anyway, to my earlier point, those people are always the first ones to tell you you're wasting money, wasting time, and they will be the first ones to call you because, oh, you're prepping. Happened to my brother. He's retired from the Navy. He's a CPO. He retired from after 20. And he lives in hurricane country, and he absolutely is like, yeah, no, there's absolutely a good reason to have inventory, to have equipment, etc. And a lot of his circle are former military, and they're on the same wavelength. They had a friend show up who he describes as kind of douchey. I don't know what that means. I'm taking him at his word because surely he can pick that out in people. And he looked and said, man, he came in and we were drinking in the garage, playing cards on a table. They were just talking smack, having cigars. And the guy looks at his shelving, and my brother said, I didn't think of it because all the other vets are like, yeah, whatever, we have that too. The guy's like, oh man, if something happens, we're coming to this block. And he said the whole table just turned and looked at him and gave him this ugly look. And he's like, why are you not doing this? He's like, oh, well, they'll take care of me. And when the guys were pressing, well, who is they? Nobody knows. No, he couldn't answer. He couldn't answer who they was coming to help him. Folks, protect your inner peace and energy. If you have someone tearing down your life, whether it's for prepping or for life in general, you're going back to school, but you're not in your 20s anymore. You may be older, 30s, 40s, 50s. And you're like, I'm going to go back to school. And they're like, it's not going to matter. Yeah, it absolutely matters. And it could help you. If nothing else, it enlightens you and it raises you up personally. Don't listen to people like that. Okay? There's so many jackass people who all they can do is continually tear other people down, but they're not contributing, they're not moving up. Protect your inner peace. Don't allow that to ruin what you're doing, whether you're in preparedness or you're just someone who's popping into my live stream to say hi. Don't let that kind of person tear you down. You want to go back to school at 60? Go back to school at 60. Who gives a shit? That's for you. You want to be prepared and all you can afford is a month worth of, I don't know, canned goods or one box of MREs and a flashlight? Fine. You know what? You're one box of MREs and a flashlight more than the stupid guy who's not doing anything. Don't let them tear you down. Stay on budget. Don't buy and panic. That's not what we do. But how to prep to get home safely from a distant location. I'm on the road. Oh yeah, that would be a great PAAMT. That would be a great topic. It's going to be different for everyone, by the way, because since I work for a company that has facilities all over my state, I've already got like a hopscotch map in my head saying if I'm in this city and something goes down and I can get out, I can stop at A, B, and C on the way home, and I'll have a resource there. Whether it's a safe place to sleep or food and water or fuel, I know where to go. But that's me. Other people, you might be like, I know a guy who's a truck driver and he's going to have to wing it. So he has figured out where there are other locations to safely stop, and what truck stops not to stop at. So it'll vary, but that's a great conversation point. But anyway, folks, don't let these negative people take away your energy, your desire to grow. Even if you're just reading a new book, they're like, why are you reading that book? Don't listen to that. You're reading the book for your own reasons. And if you tell them, I'm looking to learn more about this subject, and they're like, well, that's pointless. They're like, okay, then well, how about you not comment because I don't need to hear your shit. I've gotten to that point, even with people I know. It's like, if you don't have something positive to say, you just want to tear down and that's all that comes out, you need to walk away from folks like that. And I hate to say it, but even friends and family, I've had people like that. I've cut ties. I've walked away. I don't wish them ill, but you got to protect your peace and your value, because at the end of the day, your inner peace, your energy is important. And if someone else is leveraging the fact that you're family or friends and, well, you're my cousin or you're my family and blood's thicker than water, that's bullshit. Some of the people who've treated me the worst in my life were family. Family are the people who treat you like family. Family are the people who act like you matter, and they act like you're important, and they're concerned about your well-being and your growth. And sometimes they'll tell you things you don't want to hear if you're going down a bad path, and that's okay. Just because you share an uncle or a cousin doesn't make them family. I love pitching movies, but like Fast and the Furious, right? Mia Familia. They're not his blood family, but they're his clan. And that's where you need to think of that. And it's not that you shouldn't work through problems with brothers and sisters and cousins, but there are some people I love very much. I'll pick up the phone if they call and say hi, but I keep a distance because I've been there with that person. And no, you are family, but you don't treat me like family. And where were you when I had hardship? Where were you when things happened to me? So you ask yourself that. And remember, yeah, blood is thicker than water, but true family are the people who value who you are. Even if they don't agree, they at least value why you're doing what you're doing in your own heart and mind. And those are the ones, and those are the kind of friends, if you don't see them for 10 years, and then run into them after a while, it's like you never missed a day, because they still value you all those years later. So anyway, I wanted to give you that this morning. Don't let people take away from your energy, from your vibe. You want to grow a certain way. I mean, unless you're going down a terrible path with crack and whatnot, you do you. And if it brings you more knowledge, it brings you more happiness, it brings you to a better place, remember, your mind is your most powerful prep. And the more you know, the more you understand, the more at peace you are with the world around you, the better you're going to handle a bad situation. I mean, it's just what it is. So folks, be good, be safe out there. Y'all take care of each other, and don't get in trouble, or at least don't get caught if you do get in trouble. We'll see y'all later.